talk about today. You ever had troubles with your past? Something in the past that just keeps popping up, and you just keep looking back at it, keep dwelling on it and stuff, and it just almost haunts you in such a way that, like, you almost make it your life. I went through that phase once when I was in junior high, actually. I had a bad time in my life because I'm going to make a very personal, I'm going to sum up a very personal family event and just say that we all got into a big argument. And I didn't get to see my dad for a very long time. Now, I'm not saying this to immortalize my father in such events, because since then he's done everything in his possible power that he can to mend the wound and reconnect the family, and he's done just a fine job at that too. But during this time in my life, and I'm glad I'm not there anymore, I was so focused on the events that took place instead of looking at what was right in front of me, right? I lost my way pretty quick, actually. And that's what that does. That's all that does. That's all that it does. Is it if you don't learn from it and move on, you're stuck looking back while walking forward. You have no idea what direction you go. And for every time that you're looking back and you trip and you fall to the ground and you stumble and you get up and you swear that it's because of the past, it's because of this problem that you had and everything. If if that didn't happen, then neither would this, right? No. The problem is you're looking back, and you need to look forward. You need to pay attention at what's coming ahead and learn from what you've already passed. Sometimes you step on a nail at work. Learn to watch your feet. Learn to look for the wood that is being demoed out and see if there's nails sticking up. I have a very dear friend of mine that I haven't spoken to in a very long time, who is I was raised with them. And he had this problem too, because growing up and whatnot, I was basically the bigger brother, and I picked on him a lot. I mean, I'd pick and I'd pick and I'd pick and stuff, and I'm, dealing with my own problems during that time of my life, and didn't handle myself too well. And I was mean to him. I was very mean to him. And a couple years back and stuff, and since then we'd grown up and we'd gone to plenty, shows together and whatnot, and went snowboarding a lot and stuff, and we was back to being brothers and stuff, and life was good, life was grand. Then alcohol got involved, and alcohol, there's a reason why they call them spirits. is because they eventually end up possessing you. And you can tell which one's which, too. Gin acts differently than whiskey, acts differently than vodka, acts differently than tequila. I learned all that as a bartender, actually. I'd serve people up their drinks and stuff. I'd watch them slowly change into the drink that they had. My wife is calling me again. Alright. Sorry, honey. But... And that was the common thing that I saw between all of these people bartending too, is that every one of them that would drink themselves into a slumber or a slurry just get hammered. Typically by themselves too. They all had that same look in their eye, just staring off, just reminiscing, letting it control their every movement, their every decision. That's why a lot of people after being heartbroken, they often don't try again. They're so stuck on the past. They're so stuck. Nobody else will ever be like her. No, they won't. Same can be said for the rest of them, though. So they all just sit there and they stare. They get angry at themselves mostly. And then typically it just takes one comment and they're already ignited. They lit their fuse themselves just by reminiscing on this and focusing on this so much that all of a sudden it becomes their reality yet again. And would you like a glass of water? What did you just say to me? Yeah. That was a real scenario, by the way. And it turned out ugly. Turned out very ugly, very quick, just because I offered a glass of water. But their need for it, because it's the only thing that they know relieves that stress. They feel free, careless. I don't feel no pain right now. You could punch me in the face. You know what? Why don't you do it? They lose sight really quick. They lose track of themselves and they lose track of what they're doing in life and where they're headed. That all of a sudden they just become another trinket on the keychain of the very spirit that they're drinking from, you know? Focus on what is in front of you. Don't focus on what is behind you. Everything, every scenario in life has a lesson. Every lesson must be taught. Is to make you who you are and to see how you're going to respond the next time that it happens. Oh, I remember this. Last time I blew up and I got thrown in jail. I've never been thrown in jail, by the way. But knowing what to do whenever you come to that step, instead of getting pulled over and blowing up on the officer, you roll down your window calmly and, yes, officer, what's the problem? You know, all of a sudden there's a whole different scenario at play. And it all depends on how you react or how you respond. So, I guess that brings me to the end of this one. But just keep looking forward. Otherwise, you'll trip.